Welcome, Matthew Mathers. The next two lessons are going to be about rounding. So today I'm trying to work on rounding sheet number 1, which is rounding whole numbers and only to whole number places. So I have a sample problem up here on the board, and we're going to round it to 5 different places, just like your worksheet rounds it to 5 different places. So if we're going to round to the tens place, the first thing you have to do is locate where the tens place is. So start at the very right end of the number, and it's not this one, this is the ones place. Go to its neighbor. The 7 is in the tens place. When we want to round to the tens place, or round to any place, you always look to the right. So the 7 may or may not change, but the boss of whether we change or not is the number to its right, which is the 8. And the rule is, if you see a number 5 or more in 8's position, which 8 is more than 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you see a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kind of number, this has to go up. So on this question, the 8 being 5 or more rounds the 7 up to an 8. To its right, we do a 0. And everything to the left, we're just going to copy the exact way it was. So we're copying 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 was the position we had to consider, and that shoved up to be an 8 because this was big enough to do that. If I round to the 100, I shift my attention where I am. The 6 is now a maybe keep, maybe go up kind of place. Okay, to decide what to do with 6, we always look right. And this is big enough to put us up. So 6 becomes 7. 2 zeros on the right of that. But all of the beginning, 3, 4, 5, comma, that just stays the same. Thousands place, we would look now at the 5 is in the thousands place, maybe to change it, maybe not. We have to look to the right to see what the number on the right tells us to do. 6 is still big enough to make us go up. So the 5 goes up, 0 everything to the right, things to the left we always copy. 10,000s place is where the 4 is. So for the 4's position, to make a decision whether to stay or go up, we always look right. The 5 is still big enough to shove it up. So 4 becomes 5. 0 is everything to the right. The left, we just copy it. The 100,000s place is where the 3 is. And finally, we have one where we peek right, and 4 is not big enough to go up. So we leave the 3 the way it was, and we zero out everything to the right. If there were numbers to the left, we copy them, but there weren't. Quick check here. When you're rounding in the tens group of the homework paper, the first 10, if you're rounding to the 10, they should always end with a 0. If you're rounding to the 100, which has 2 zeros, every answer should have 2 zeros. You might, by accident, bump into a number that already had a 0 there, and maybe you have bonus zeros, but you have to have 2 zeros or more. 1,000 has 3 zeros, so do 3 zeros or more. 10,000 has 4 zeros, so you probably do 4 zeros. Maybe by luck more, but probably 4 zeros. 100,000's group is going to have 5 zeros at the end of those, so that's a way to quick examine your answers. Here's one quirky problem. So if I threw you this, a weird thing happens on that one. Let me start at this end and work back. 100,000 is here. The 3 would depend on looking to the right, and the 9 would push the 3 up to 4, and we'd zero everything out that's on the right. But if I go to any of these other places, any of these other positions, when you look to round, when you look to the right, the 9 is enough to try to bump up anything from 9 to 10, and you can't fit 10s into these places. You're going to have to do some carrying. So let me go back to the beginning. If I round to the 10s place, which is here, this 9 pushes us up from 9 to 10. I can't put a 10, so I would do a 0 and carry a 1. 1 makes that 9 a 10. Carry a 1. 1 and 9 is 10. Carry a 1. 1 and 9 is 10. Carry a 1. We'd end up with 400,000 there because we always zero out everything to the right. Literally every one of these answers in that whole range would end up being 400,000, and that's weird. Here's one other basic kind of problem for people that need it. If you don't need it, just don't have to watch it. I'm not going to know if you watch it or not. Watch what you need to watch. But let's go 5, 6, 2, 1, 3, 7. If you want to self-test, go ahead and click self-test. Pause the video and I'll be back in a minute, or you can unpause and get the answers from me. But rounding to the 10 is 5, 6, 2, 1, 40. The 3 is in the tens place. The 7 is big to push 3 up. Hundreds would be 5, 6, 2, 100. Because the 1 is in the hundreds place, 3 isn't big enough to change it, so stay 1. Thousands place would be 5, 6, 2, 000. The 2 is in the thousands place. 1 isn't big enough to change it, so it stays 2. Copy everything to the left, 0 everything to the right. 10,000 would be 560,000. This is the 10,000s, and the 2 isn't big enough to change that, so leave it a 6. 100,000s would have to go up to 600,000, because the 5 is in that position from the 100,000s place. 6 pushes that up. So again, in a normal problem, 5 zeros matches 5 zeros. 4 matches 4, 3 matches 3, 2 match 2, 1 matched 1. That's usually how those go. If that's not enough, email me sometime. We'll talk soon.